So would I buy this contraband detection franchise at $575,000? Let's talk about this. This is a real business listed for sale on BizBuySell, asking $575,000 with $166,000 in claimed cash flow and just over $564,000 in revenue. Now on the surface, that's 3.46 times SDE. But here's the thing, the property is not the business. The place you keep the dogs is not the business. The handlers and the contracts may actually be the business. It says there are about 80 school district clients and trained dogs on the payroll, and the real estate costs almost twice as much as the business itself. So I want to know whether I'm buying a real book of school contracts or whether I'm paying for two people, a few dogs, and somebody else's backyard. So let me show you what this listing proves, what it doesn't, and whether I'd take the next call. So here's what the listing actually tells us. And before we do any math, I want to separate what the listing says from what anybody's actually proven. The asking price is $575,000, and that's business only. Cash flow's $166,000, and that's the seller's normalized number. Revenue's just over $564,000, and that one's seller supplied. The business started in 1999, so that's about 27 years of operating history. It says there are 8 employees, 3 full-time and 5 part-time, and about 80 clients, and those clients are school districts. The owners claim under 15 hours a week between the two of them. And then there's the real estate. That one's $1 million, and it's not included in the price. Now those are all listing facts and seller claims. They are not diligence. They're enough to decide whether we keep reading. Nothing more. So the niche is defensible. The structure isn't simple. And here's why I keep reading. The price is 3.46 times reported SDE, and the SDE margin is 29.4%. And the listing does hand us real things to dig into. Revenues claim to be stable across 3 years. 2 supervisors carry more than 40 combined years of tenure. There's about 80 school district clients on the books. And the licensing, the training, and the canine capability all create barriers to entry. The owners also claim fewer than 15 combined hours a week. And that's the kind of claim that either holds up on the first call or falls apart on it. But now look at what the brochure does not establish. It doesn't prove that $166,000 of normalized cash flow, and it doesn't prove a single franchise adjustment behind it. It doesn't prove the client concentration or the contract renewal history. It doesn't prove what a trained dog costs, how often you have to replace one, or what happens to the handler when you do. It doesn't prove the operation can stay on that property after closing. And it doesn't prove the real franchise fees, the territory rights, or the transfer restrictions. And look, I'm not saying the broker's lying. I'm saying the listing's doing its job. Now we've got to do ours. So you're buying contracts, handlers, dogs, and a place to keep them. And this is the part that can change the entire deal. Here's what we know. The business runs out of the seller's 5-acre property, and that property is offered separately for $1 million. A short-term lease might be negotiated, but the sellers would rather sell the whole thing together. Here's what we don't know. We don't know the customer concentration. We don't know the contract terms. We don't know how old the dogs are, what they cost to replace, or whether the handlers stay. And here's the assumption to test. Those 2 supervisors can keep running the territory without the sellers, and without a new full-time owner standing in the middle of it. Because a trained dog isn't a piece of equipment you buy once and forget. It ages out, it retires, and somebody has to pay to train the next one. None of those unknowns are red flags on their own. They're the things the next call has to answer. If the evidence is good, we keep going. If the seller can't produce it, we stop. So how much of that $166,000 do I actually trust? The listing gives us exactly one SDE number. What it doesn't give us is the complete add back bridge, so I can't see which expenses actually disappear after closing. So I'm not going to invent them, I'm going to stress the number instead. At 90% accepted SDE, I'm using $150,000. That's a haircut of about $17,000 right off the top. And that doesn't mean I know exactly 10% of it's fake. It means I want to know whether this deal survives when some of that claimed cash flow disappears. For an owner-operator, that accepted SDE is your pay and your profit combined before debt. So if you don't want to be the one running the handlers and the routes, somebody else has to, and you've got to pay them at market rate. The moment you do that, this math changes. Same business, same price, different buyer model. So now let's back it into debt service and find out whether this price survives financing. The buyer puts in $29,000. The seller carries another $29,000 at 0% on full standby. And that leaves a modeled SBA loan of $517,000. Monthly SBA debt service is about $6,800, so that's roughly $82,000 a year. Against our accepted SDE, debt coverage is 1.82 times. And as an owner-operator, you're left with about $68,000 after debt service. That's before tax, working capital, future capital spending, and surprises. And it's before the dogs, right? Every dog on that roster gets a year older every year you own this thing. And you can see right there how quickly the cushion gets thin once anything on that list moves. The spreadsheet tells us whether the structure is possible. It doesn't prove the seller's numbers. Now that first broker call has 6 jobs. And at this point, I'm not asking the broker to sell me the business. It's not about negotiating price. We're not there yet. I'm trying to answer 6 questions. First, give me every client contract, the renewal dates, the pricing, the concentration, and the historical retention. Second, walk me through every dog and every handler. The age, the certification, the tenure, the pay, and what it costs to replace them. Third, what do the owners actually still do during those 15 combined hours a week? Fourth, show me the normalized earnings bridge, the tax returns, and every franchise fee across the last 3 years. Fifth, what territory rights, transfer approvals, royalties, and operating restrictions come with this franchise? And sixth, what property lease can I actually get if I don't buy the separate real estate at $1 million? Now, if the broker can't answer all of that on the first call, that's fine. If the seller can't produce the evidence after an NDA, that's not fine. So the contracts may be valuable. The property and the manager-run math need work. That's the crux of it. So would I buy it? Obviously, nobody can answer that off BizBuySell listing. Would I take the next call? Yeah, but carefully. The niche, the tenure, and the customer base earn a call. But this business leans on specialized handlers, trained dogs, franchise rights, and a property that isn't in the price. And at the claimed cash flow, adding a manager or paying market rent can erase the comfort pretty quickly. So I'd take that call for one reason, and that's to find out what the contracts, the dogs, and the property really cost to keep. The public numbers tell us whether this deserves more work. The documents and the operating evidence decide whether it deserves an offer. My first pass verdict is proceed with caution. It's worth a call, but it has not earned a let's sign a check today kind of approach. That's a decision about the next call. It's not a decision to buy.